All right, well, it's time for another video blog, and today I was going to talk about how to approach just GST as a whole program when you're cutting versus bulking. So when you're cutting, the main thing is that you're trying to really just preserve strength levels, preserve muscle mass levels, and it's really all about just losing fat. So one thing that a lot of people do wrong with their training in general is that when they're cutting, they think that they need to do more, and actually when you're cutting, it's okay, it's perfectly okay to just do a little less. You're in a calorie deficit. You have lower energy levels, most likely lower carb levels. So it really makes no sense to think that all of a sudden you can do more. Save doing more for when you're bulking. It just makes much more complete sense. So that's the first main point that I want to make right there. You're going to approach GST overall and do a little less. So I'm just going to talk about some of the variables that can be changed with GST when it's time to do less. First off, one major variable is going to be how many sets you perform of your supplement lifts. You'll notice that GST has built-in variations. For example, when you like your high rep supplement day, it calls for 2 or 3 sets. Your medium rep supplement day calls for 3 to 4 sets. And so you can see that there's some room for variation there, and when you're cutting, it's just a good idea to try and take the lower number of sets. So you would hit 2 sets of 15 to 20 or 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. And also, you'll notice there's some variation in your rep number there too, and that's just another built-in variance of GST. And that kind of brings me to my next point, where you can also take it a step further depending on like how depleted you feel, how your energy levels feel that day. So you can stick with your 2 sets of 15 to 20, but then you could take it that step further and just make it 2 sets of 15. Or you could stick with your 3 sets of 8 to 12, but you could take it a step further depending on how you're feeling that day and make it 3 sets of 8. So it's basically a given when you're cutting that you're going to use your lower number of sets, and then you can just vary day to day based on your energy levels, how you're feeling, in the zone or not, and you can use those variables, and those can determine your number of reps. Okay, so that's a major couple of points there about cutting on GST. And another point about cutting on GST is going to be training frequency. Sometimes people just think, it just comes back to the thinking of you need to do more when it's time to cut. So, and that's just not true. So you really want to stick to the 50-50 GST rest to work ratio when it comes time to cut. Increasing the frequency of all your major lifts and all your workouts is just not the way to go about it. It's really not the way to go about it anytime, to be honest with you. So why would you think that it's the time to go about it when you're cutting? It just really doesn't make a lot of sense. Once again, just because those energy levels are low, you're in a calorie deficit, your body's not going to be able to recover as efficiently. So training frequency can drop a little bit. Definitely stick to the 50-50 ratio. So your microcycles are going to actually end up being about 8 days, and you're guaranteed to rest 4 days. And when I say rest can mean either taking a full day off, just not even seeing the gym. It can also mean doing your low intensity cardio, because that's a low energy demanding form of cardio. It's less demanding on the nervous system. It's going to require less overall recovery. And that rest day can also mean lightweight active recovery complexes, which those, your low intensity cardio and your lightweight complexes are not going to generate a lot of need for recovery. So I consider those to be off days as well. So far when it comes to cutting with GST, I've talked about your variances in supplement reps, your variances in supplement sets, and then training frequency. Another major factor that's going to come into play is actually going to be your core lift intensity levels. So you know that you can have your 60, 70, 80, or 90, your 65, 75, 85, or 95, or your 70, 80, 90, or 100% percentages to use for your core lifts. And once again, when you're cutting, you don't need to do more. You just don't want to try to do more, so you can guess which one I'm gonna recommend, and that's going to be the 60, 70, 80, and 90% core rep or core sets intensity schemes. So once again, just stay away from the 65 and up. Stay away from the 70 and up. Just go with the basic, lowest intensity core schemes. Just check your ego at the door. You're cutting. You're not there to get super strong. You're not there to get super big. What you're there for is to try and just lose fat. You're just trying to get cut. Hence cutting. I mean, it's pretty common sense. So far, there's numerous factors there that are changed when cutting. And yes, they're going to be the opposite when you're bulking, and they're going to be midway when you're maintaining. But right now, we're just talking about cutting. And off the top of my head right now, I can't really think of too many other variables. I'm sure there might be a couple more. But those are the major variables. So I'm just going to go over them again. You choose your lowest intensity levels for your core lifts, okay? The 60, 70, 80, and 90 percentages. You choose your lowest number of supplement sets, and then you're most likely to choose your lowest number of supplement reps as well. And then also, you definitely want to make sure that you get plenty of rest. So you choose you definitely stick to the 50-50 training frequency. So really, that's cutting on GSD in a nutshell. And I really don't have too much more to say about that. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. Just make sure that you can see all these video blogs on one page on growthstimulustraining.com, and just keep checking back on that site under the blog tab for more and more updates. I'm doing quite a bit of these, and I'm just going to keep on doing them. Nothing's really going to stop me, so I will see you guys next time. Thank you.